As the town guards poured into the building, the cultists fell back toward their summoning circle. The ritual complete, the slaughtered remains of innocent people hanging in soggy parts from meat hooks and chains, a seething deep violet crack in the air thrumming with malevolent power, gusted foul fumes from some other realm, and through this fissure in space, horrifically twisted, brutal and diseased figures leapt, lurched and staggered. The cultists chanted in a demented cacophony, and from behind the armoured guards and their wall of shields, the local representative of the Tower of Mages frantically thumbed through her spellbook of pages, looking for abjuration spells to somehow close the gateway. "Stand your ground! Hold them back!" the guard captain bellowed, casting a nervous look at the mage, not at all reassured by the stark expression of panic on her face. The demons surged outward from the gateway, trailing sticky strands of greenish slime as though they'd been birthed from a lake of ooze. They were dark and covered in muck and disease, twisted limbs and gaping maws with rows of uneven fangs. They lunged not at the guards, but into the cultists, tearing at them with claws and teeth, sending sprays of blood, dark robes and entrails flying through the air, pelting and splattering across the shield wall before the first of them crashed against it, many becoming impaled on the spears of the guards, but still scratching, spitting and clawing at the metal. The guards screamed and pushed back, taking the fury as though holding back a hurricane wind. "Hold the line! Hold the line!" The captain took a glass vial of alchemical fire and tossed it overhead, where it smashed and erupted in a plume of blue flame, spreading out across the crowded and jumbled floor. The mage began to chant, one hand holding aloft a glowing crystal orb, the other her spellbook, eldritch sigils crawling in a spidery spiral across the page, her eyes fixed on the violet energies of the abyssal portal. It happened in mere seconds. A sound like tearing silk, a burst of colour and glittering jewellery, golden chains and long lustrous hair, supple oiled skin and emerald scales. Like a gymnast's ribbon, the Marilith vaulted across the portal and sailed directly over the snarling mass of Rutakin, directly over the heaving line of metal shields, and landed amidst the guards themselves, with a sound of whipping metal into metal, and grunts and shrieks of men, the haunting sound of the Marilith's gleeful laughter. The mage felt a sickening impact on her forearm, and though she had thought she had dropped her precious orb, but then she saw her hand falling away with it, and the captain's head fell back limply from his shoulders with a dark scarlet fountain of blood. Falling to her knees, the mage dropped her spellbook and called forth a glob of acid, hurling it with her good hand at the demon. The Marilith's laughter turned into a snarl. She spun about, the flesh on the side of her face releasing smoke-filled bubbles. Her long serpent tail flashed across the legs of the guards, sending them tumbling and slamming into the side of the mage, coiling around with their constricting force. Two sword blades touched down on either side of the mage's shoulder, and the last thing she saw were the baleful eyes of the Marilith, before the blades met with a clash in the middle. There everybody, AJ back again for the Mighty Glue Stick channel. Welcome to our next in our demon series. Today we're talking about the Marilith. They are amazingly dangerous, no doubt about it. They are whirling tornadoes of death, and they know it. They truly enjoy cutting other beings to pieces. They'll get up early in the morning just to get some more killing in their day. But it's not the actual murder that they live for, it is the feeling, the look in their victims' eyes when they see the true expression of terror and awe, that they have absolute confirmation of what they knew all along, that they are perfect. Mariliths are larger than what you'd expect. From the waist up, they look like an exotically gorgeous humanoid woman with 6 arms, and from the waist down, they have the body of a giant snake, a serpent. They are sumptuously proportioned and move with consummate grace. They know they're beautiful, like some dark forbidden fruit, and they flaunt it, wearing only jewellery on their nude torsos and arms. They rise up around 9 feet tall and measure a total of 20 feet from their head to the tip of their tail. A Marilith weighs on average 4,000 pounds, but is still all lean, perfectly toned, supple and oiled muscle and sinew. They wear jewellery fit for a queen, and wield weapons that have been taken from the cold dead hands of enemies that they have vanquished. Powerful enemies. Usually these weapons will be enchanted, but any weapon in the hands of a Marilith is considered magical. When not otherwise occupied, they recline in palanquins carried by their minions. They lounge on piles of slaves who dotingly hold them aloft in hundreds of straining hands. They eat offerings of sacrificed beauty, pick over gifts of fabulous wealth and finery, all of which they consider to be perfectly normal and entitlement for any Marilith. But of course, each one believes itself to be the consummate Marilith, the perfect example of her kind, superior to all other in her fearsome splendour. When the Marilith springs into action, other Tanari fall in behind her. She doesn't lead because she is bullying and forcing them. They follow because where she goes, destruction and death follow, and all demons want to be in the thick of that action. Such is the nature of the chaotic abyss that demons gather where corruption, violence and predation are at their peak, and that Marilith forms the heart of the storm. The palace and its demon queen, and all around there's riot and ruin, demons savagely attacking each other and feeding on the power of the weak, even as they fight for dominance over those who attack them. The Marilith cultivates a seething network of toadies and supplicants who spy and scout for her, reporting back immediately. If any new portal to a fresh realm is discovered, if there is some invasion of her own territory, or if some other more powerful demon has arrived and is approaching, with an intelligence of 18 and a wisdom of 16, the Marilith knows when to attack and when to form an alliance, particularly if they are dealing with a Balor or a demon lord. So the Marilith is the calm of the storm. She's the quiet eye of the tornado of destruction and death around her, and it constantly moves, much like a tornado in our world does, or a hurricane. Marilith do not hesitate to dive through a portal or gateway into another realm, particularly a fresh portal into the prime material plane. They know that from thousands of years of experience that the best way to secure a new power base and greater chances to subsume and take over a new realm is by subjecting the immediate area around the portal to a sudden assault of overwhelming violence, slaughtering any mortal life in the area. This includes any cultists, even those fanatics who would do anything that was ordered of them, because the Marilith knows that the mortal minds are weak and easily manipulated or controlled. She will not risk the strategic threat of having mortals turned against her near such a valuable tactical location as a portal to the Abyss. The Marilith is not there to murder everyone and then retreat back to the Abyss. She is there to murder everyone and then secure her new realm and expand her dominance, plundering it for decadent pleasures and moving ever onward, lest more powerful demons seek to take it from her. The Marilith is a genius. She is a cunning and unpredictable mercurial force capable of blinding speed. In combat, she moves at 40 feet per round, but will frequently dash and lunge or teleport to another position, up to 120 feet away, particularly if they sense a magic user is about to cast a high-level spell on them. So they'll teleport away to waste that effort. They will make 7 pinpoint attacks with their 6 weapons, usually the equivalent of long swords, though I encourage you to personalize them with an assortment of powerful magical weapons in order to increase the Marilith's threat at a higher level of play. They are challenge rating 16 foe, but you can range that up to challenge rating 18 or 19 relatively easily, but they should be probably below that of a Balor. They have +9 to hit with attacks, including their tail. You can up that again with magical weapons, which they use each round with their tail. They lash it out 10 feet, bludgeoning, grappling, and constricting for ongoing damage. And don't forget, the Marilith can use her tail to manipulate objects and allies in the combat area as well. Plus, as a large creature with her ferocious 18 strength, that allows her to lift or push over objects weighing up to 1,080 pounds. She can also teleport above, and with her carrying weight, she can drop a 540-pound object that she carries that she carries with her on a teleport. Because you can only teleport with what you can carry, not what you can lift. So she can drop that 540-pound object onto a target, which, according to the rules of the game, does somewhere around 5d10 damage for a boulder or equivalent object with such a mass, which is formidable. I think you'd agree. A Marilith has the reaction speed of her serpent lower half, and every turn in combat round, including the turn of her enemies, she can make one reaction, which will either be a parry or an opportunity attack. Parry reaction simply boosts her armor class from 18 to 23, but she must be able to see the attacker and have a weapon in hand to parry with. She can parry one attack coming at her on that turn, but this is a powerful ability in practice and really cramps the style of those melee attackers who concentrate on delivering one big hit on their turn rather than multiple attacks of, say, fighters or the flurry of blows of a monk. Added to that, they are resistant to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing and slashing damage, as well as cold, fire or lightning, and totally immune to poison, so they certainly make good use of the Dretch or the Hezrel demons to fill the whole area with toxic stench clouds, which they're totally immune to. A Marilith may send in a small force of Rudderkin first, as the mutant horrors can really disrupt any organised resistance on the other side, and she will not hold off for long though, as Mariliths are so arrogant that they really do think if you want a job done properly, do it yourself. So they will lunge into combat even in the midst of the rush of the Rudderkin, which is just overwhelming for the defenders. Traditionally, Marilith have been able to cast and gate in other demons to their location, although it's not listed in the 5th edition Monster Manual. That's certainly part of their modus operandi. They are very high-ranking demons and have resistance to all magical effects. In the rough hierarchy of the Abyss, they are second only to Balors and Demon Lords, so they do command magical power. I suggest giving them some illusion and charm spell powers. Nothing too spectacular. It may be better to save this sort of thing until after combat, where the Marilith is pumping a captive local for information about the land beyond the portal zone. Let's see, on Faerun, there've been many instances where a Marilith has been active in the world of Faerun. In 1373 DR, 3 Mariliths known as the Triumvirate served under Kanir Volk, a leader of the Scoured Legion of Hellgate Keep. One of those Mariliths was Volk's mother, Malvasis the Sceptred. In 1385 DR, the Marilith Visilka, who served the Balor Axithar, was trapped when the death of Mistra tore away a chunk of the Blood Rift. With the help of the Cambion Kanir Volk, Visilka was able to return to Axithar to wage war upon the House of the Triad. Interesting. And in 1485 to 1486 DR, getting quite close to the present time, Mariliths were among the demons that wandered the streets of Menzoberranzan and participated in the failed defense of Quahorlerin against the dwarves. The Great Mariliths, for whom all Mariliths were named, was among them. So much like the Malfishni, they're all named after one particular famous Marilith. She allowed Malagdor Dal Aramgo to slay and banish her back to the Abyss, but Gromf Benair resummoned her days later, making a fool out of Malagdor for claiming he'd defeated her. She was subsequently sent to fight against the dwarves of Exor-Larin. She was confronted by Dristurden, who disabled her, and Bruenor Battlehammer placed the final stroke that slew her and banished her. So she's now back, languishing in some realm of the Abyss. Like the Nalfishni, as I mentioned, the Marilith are named after the demon called Marilith, who could easily have been... There's other equally famous ones, Ace Hapra, Kevakuli, and Ren Nerim, who are all equally powerful Marilith demons. Also, thanks to Adam Holcomb for pointing out that I should mention that Yuan-Ti have, in the past, interbred with Mariliths, or perhaps just one Marilith, to produce a very powerful hybrid Yuan-Ti style of Cambion or half-fiend. Many of the Yuan-Ti houses are likely candidates for crossbreeding experiments, such as House Extaminos. My money would be on them doing this anyway. Just a reminder, if you've not subscribed already, feel free to do so, and be sure to hit that notification bell as I upload from the other side of the world sometime in your future. For access to all the scripts and 1 week advance access to these videos, and special permission to make priority requests for videos, consider becoming a patron of the channel on Patreon for a minimum of just $1 a month. Join in the community on our Discord server, come say hi. Also, if you want to pick up a new video game at a significant daily discount and help me out in the process, check out the link for Chrono down below. There's a new game every single day. And there's also some links there for a mug, which is currently my only merchandise. So if you want to support me that way, feel free. As always, thanks for listening. I'll be back with more for you very soon.